Hi everyone, welcome back to the studio for this week's episode of Tutorial Tuesday. You're here for episode 100 of Tutorial Tuesday, and I thought we would paint one of my favorite types of scene, a beach scene, and we're going to do a little sunset. So up here on the canvas you'll see just a little bit of tape that's just below center, and I put a little round piece for the sun so that I can remember that that's where our sunset is going to be for later. Be sure to check the description below for the paint list, and let's jump right into it. I'm going to start off with my 1-inch brush, and hadn't quite decided yet, but maybe we'll do some Indian yellow, just a touch of that. Right up here. Just kind of going to be reflected a little bit. And then we're going to have a little bit of haziness down here. And let's throw just one tiny little beam of that down below. Okay, now we're going to move back up to the top. Let's grab some bright red. Just tap into that. Same dirty brush. A little bit more bright red. We're just going to surround this yellow here with our red. Touch more. Now we need a little bit more of this right in here. We're going to bring it down to our horizon. Now to bring a little bit of harmony, we want to bring some of this red down below. Just a tiny bit. Okay, now I'm going to pick up, I don't know. Let's do blending brush, and we'll start, make sure that's clean. We'll start up here in our yellows and reds. And just allow these to blend with our liquid white on the canvas. Let's just make this a soft line here. Gives us a nice bit of that color for blending later. And we'll soften this out down here too. All right, now let's add some crimson to the mix. Just get a little bit of that on the brush. And right on the outside of our darkest part of the red, we start with the crimson. All right, now let's see. Let's get a little bit of this crimson right on these corners here. And we'll bring it all the way down to our horizon. Nice. Okay. Let's do a touch of blending. Just want to get this kind of hazy horizon here. Real soft gradients. And we'll blend a little bit of this crimson up top. We're working it into some of that red. All right, now let's do a little bit. I'm gonna add more with my sable brush, bright red and alizarin crimson. Mix those two. A nice deep color. I want to just work this in a little bit more red, bright red. Bright red. Now let's do some crimson. And we'll just start to work some of this out of the dark area. We want to have our sun here, so we need everything to be really dark around it for the sun to look nice and bright. So sometimes it doesn't quite make sense right away, but we'll get there. Let's do a little more crimson. Okay, now we'll do a little bit of blending. Just soften it, move it around a little. There's a bit of paint here, so we're picking it up and moving it around. Just work with that. Kind of clean out your bristles a little bit. Now we'll wipe it off the brush. just soften. So there's a little bit of a line there that we'll get rid of here. Okay, now we're going to work just a touch more right in the center, softening. One more time. Just give it a nice lift. And get rid of those brush strokes. Let's leave it like that for a little while. We'll see. We shall see. Now, back to the 1-inch brush, and we're going to go over to our gray mixture. Lots of it. I know it seems scary, but here we go. We'll work from the top in a nice even layer. Work it down and it's just going to soften. Less pressure as you move down. There we go. A little bit of this down below. I want to put some dark on the bottom of our canvas. So I'm going to load it up nice and dark. I think I'll do something like this for now. We'll get this corner darkened. All the way up to our water. And then we'll leave that because I'm not sure yet. Now, big blending brush and right up into our gray. Now we're going to bring it down into that crimson. Keep going. It's just going to blend with that crimson and soften. Now we just want to make sure we get rid of all those brush strokes, make it nice and smooth. Down here, same thing, nice and soft. And we have a little bit of that gray on our brush here. Just allow it to soften. Now, let's add some clouds. I think we'll do sable brush. We'll start with some titanium white, some bright red. And it's going to mix with our gray that's up on the canvas in some of these spots. So let's see what we got. Just reload. Now maybe a few how about closer to our light, we grab some Indian yellow. Bright red, Indian yellow. We'll reload and start right in the middle where we have our brightest. And as we start moving away from the middle, it's going to start blending with some of our colors as we pick it up. It'll get darker just slightly. Maybe a few more. Just some nice long flat clouds. Maybe a touch darker. Maybe not that dark. Now, let's grab some titanium white, and Indian yellow, nice bright color. Just add a little pop to some of these. Get more detail as they are getting closer. Now, blending brush, very careful. We want to wipe it off. Let's see. We'll just give them a little pull. Now we'll highlight those with our fan brush and some liquid white. We'll go into the liquid white. Grab some of our yellows, just a touch. And the tiniest bit of our phthalo green, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Nice, right here, touch of red. Maybe a little bit more paint. Doesn't want to stick yet, so that's okay. Just get a touch more. Medium thickness. Now we can just kind of soften them back with the fan brush. Big blending brush. Just barely, tiny bit. Now, we'll work up and highlight a few of these other ones a tiny bit with our liquid white. We'll make up a nice bright gold color, touch red. Just on a few. We'll just give them a little. Nice. Okay, now one more. That went right into the liquid white. Let's grab our sable brush, a nice clean sable brush. This one's only sort of clean. So I guess that's what's working. Sort of clean sable brush. Titanium white. Nice and thick titanium white. Let's go. Let's see if we can add a touch of red to it. Bright red. Right around the sun, we're going to do a little bit with this. Nice and soft, more red. There we go. Do a little bit Alizarin Crimson. Let's get some of our gray and a touch of blue, just a tiny hint of that. I'm going to wipe that paint off. I just want a tiny bit of this paint. And we're going to scrub it in right here on the horizon and just allow it to mist up here. And add in some depth. Touch more all the way out here. Now we have this tape on the horizon, and it's going to work so well when we pull it off and then start painting our ocean below it. So we build on that, a little more gray. maybe just a touch more on this here. We could do a little bit more dark on the base, just kind of build that. Nice. Looking good. Get rid of that paint. We will want it. Okay. Let's just clean this up here. Maybe we can do a little more after, but we'll leave that. Okay. Let us fill some of this section in with some paint. I think I just have some paint on this brush. Let's see what's on there. Let's do that. Blending brush. Just soften all of this out. Cool. I'm gonna soften these even more. Just think it'll look cool. There we go. More misty. Okay, let's pull off our tape. Ooh. That's always fun. Let's see. All right, now the sun is coming down. This is actually our horizon, the top of this tape. That's where the ocean is going to start. So let's build a little bit of our sun color. We'll just pick up our sable brush, wipe it out. Want it pretty clean. Now there's not any paint on here, no liquid white or anything. So let's just bring some of this crimson into our spot. Now that actually worked a little bit better than I wanted it to, because I still want it to be kind of light here. So let's wipe it off. No big deal. That's what I wanted. Just a tiny bit of crimson. Now we'll soften up these edges here a little bit. But another bonus is now there's a little bit less paint here for us, and it won't interfere with what's next. Let's pick up script liner, and we'll do let's see, we'll get some titanium white, and we're going to grab a touch of gray, just a tiny bit, a little bit more white, I just wanted to start with a gray. touch of phthalo green, just a tiny, tiny tint. Titanium white. Touch of this peach color now. Now that's only sort of round, but that's okay. Let's just touch it up, grab some of our gray. Let's grab a touch of yellow. Now we're just going to work some of this out a tiny bit. Sable brush. Make sure it's pretty clean. Nice glow. Now, for the fun part. Let's get this other sable brush. We've got some color on. Wipe that out. I'm just going to clean up this, kind of blend whatever this color is going on. There's our horizon. We want to bring just a touch more of this bright into this water. There. Oh man, that's tricky business. There we go though. Now, take some titanium white, bright red, kind of this peach color we have. bright enough. More white. Let me get my other sable brush that is more clean. I just wanted to create a nice little halo effect kind of around the sun. Now we'll get our script liner, some liquid white and bright red. Okay, now we'll soften that. That's still kind of a little bit ovally, but that's okay. Soften those edges. Now, let's get just a touch of bright red on those bristles. Nice, bright. And then a touch of these, tiny bit of that bright highlight color from our sun. Just a couple more here. Now let's bring this together with some dark. Let's load up on our gray. Lots of it. The darkest of our colors. We'll grab a touch of phthalo blue. And almost all the way up to our tape line we'll paint. we'll do some of that on the other side. Let's make this one a little bit more to the crimson side. Maybe just a few nice long strokes here. Now, I'm going to bring this up real careful. Okay. Now, we kind of want to blend these two together. We just don't want there to be too much paint here going into our sky. So, real soft all the way across. We soften. Nice. Same thing on the other side. Half the brush in the sky and half the brush in the ocean. Soften. There it is. Now let's mix up a little color with our palette knife. Actually, we have some right here and right here. I think I'm going to pick some of this gold and yellow. Just tap. A little bit of this red. Right in the center, some of this bright color. Now we can bring some of that down. Sable brush, wipe that out. Let me just soften out the base of that. Just ever so gently reaching a few bristles up into that paint. Bringing them down. Now I'm going to put a nice bright cloud right in front of this, kind of right around close to the sun here. Titanium white, liquid white, and a touch of Indian yellow. More bright red. Liquid white. Now I Actually, I still have some of this paint. Let's use that in our water. And we'll put some of this right here for some nice bright reflections in our water. Now, big blending brush. A little bit more dark over here. Awesome. Now let's blend a little bit back on this cloud that we just put in. I think I'll just pick up a clean fan brush. I should probably stop there with that. Now a little bit more on this water here. I think maybe we'll have just a couple hidden little, it's just like a distant beach here. We'll put in a few waves that are coming in. Slightly angling them here. Now we'll just give a few more wavy details. And then use our blending brush. Now, let's do a little bit with our sable brush. Let's find the smaller one. And I want to load it up with bright red. And I don't know, bright red. A little bit more, maybe some crimson. just kind of rock a few waves and details. Now, to that, we'll pick up our palette knife, some titanium white, and we'll go over here to this nice bright color. It's got a little touch of phthalo green in it, and some of our gray. And some bright red. Medium thickness. It's a little tiny bit thicker than medium, but right here. Down the center. And then on these waves. We'll just bring in a little tiny bit of foam. Let's add a little bit of bright red to that mixture over here. Now I ran out of paint, so I'm just going to reload a tiny bit more. We'll do maybe just a touch of this color we already had mixed up from earlier. And we'll do just a few more sweeps here. Now I want to get my big blending brush and pull down these reflections into our sand. Maybe with the fan brush, we can pull back a few. Now right here in the middle, titanium white, Indian yellow. Maybe some bright red. Soften these just a touch I want this to be like way out in the distance. It's there, but it's farther away. Now, let's use palette knife and go back into this nice bright mixture that we made, but we're going to add a little bit more gray to it. And we'll add just a few more waves. Just kind of rock these sparkles on there. And over here, maybe there's a few more waves kind of rolling in here, right on top. Maybe a little more. Let's add some liquid white now, so it's liquid, medium thickness maybe, bright red. Wipe that off. Now, soften that back with our sable brush. Wipe it out. Nice, those are some good bright water lines and reflections of that sky. Maybe we'll add a few little tiny details with our script liner. The same bright color. Now, let's do just a touch of reflection. This is still some wet sand here, just careful. Straight across. Maybe a touch of dark on the script liner, just a tiny bit on the end. Just right underneath this wave. I like that for now. All right, let's move on to the beach. We're gonna have like some sand here and it's out in the distance. And then we have this other little hill kind of closer to us where we have some stuff growing on it. There'll be some little grasses and things. Maybe something like this. And we'll just kind of build some texture in the sand. All right, now we'll soften all this out. All right, let's start with some kind of distant grasses here. I think I'll use my brush wash and my script liner and a bunch of dark. So we'll just thin this out so we can use a lot of it. Go right into that pile and wiggle your brush. Opens up the bristles and we're thinning out this paint, mixing it into a thin paint and kind of trying to mix up a lot. Bring back some thick into that thin, blend it up. Now we're going to twirl it into a nice fine point. Help kind of pile it up a little bit more here. There we go. Now, right here, they're kind of grasses out on that back side of here. Nice. I like to start with like some kind of an idea on the shape. Then you can just mix in some more smaller grasses that would be in front or behind. This is all just the base of our grass. It's farther away. Maybe a few more going out this way. And let's start with a little, there's going to be another bush right here. We'll build in a little bit right on the edge with this color. I think the wind is mostly blowing in that direction to the left. That's what I've decided. Right, now let's do a little bit with the fan brush. We'll go into some titanium white, a little bit of phthalo green. Wow, not that much phthalo green. I'll grab some bright red. We're going for a gray, so let's find it. There it is. Now we'll put in just a little bit of sand out here, way out. Just a tiny amount. Make all the base of that disappear. All of that is on the back side of this hill now. Now, we're going to put in a little fence here. I want to use my sable brush. A lot of the time I would use my palette knife, but I thought this would be an easier way to do it. You can still get really straight lines. I don't know, we'll see what I like better. First things first, I need to mix up some more gray. So I'm going to get some Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Green, much more Alizarin Crimson. And right below this other mixture that we just thinned out, we'll mix this up. That'll do. Sable brush, let's load it up nice and thick. Now this is gonna go do the back side. Then we'll do the front side. Now we'll square it up. Now, let's do, feel like we'll just do some more of these posts. I think I'm gonna make this little fence kind of like a beechwood type fence, or just some like the straightest wood we could find fence. Sometimes the sands and dunes blow so much they have to put little fences at the beaches to keep the grassy areas held in, or just to keep people from falling off the edge, which might be the case here, I don't know. It's like that fence is kind of going down that hill. Let's do some cleanup on these. Make sure their back sides are very dark. Most of them just entirely need to just be dark. But that they come all the way down dark on this back. Now a little bit of a highlight on them. Just a touch of color. Let's do some liquid white and we'll go into this light gray mixture. Just grab some of that and into our lighter. This was one of our highlight colors. I just want a little hint of color. right on the edge. A little bit more light. Just using some of those nice little grays. Just something kind of subtle. But brighter than what we have on there. So many fence posts. It takes a delicate hand, but definitely is doable. The paint likes to stick to itself, so if you just kind of let it go, it's almost like it finds a groove, which you wouldn't really expect, but it does. It knows where it wants to go. Liquid white needs to be thinner. Now our sun is kind of right in the center of these posts now, so we'll just kind of give them a little bit on their top, maybe. Well, now we're on the left. Yeah, this one. Now there's not a lot of paint left, or do this edge here. And with our sable brush, might be able to soften this out. Nice. Now I'm going to do a little, maybe like a wire or rope that kind of goes through this. I'll use this. I'm going to use my palette knife for because it is reliable. I'll go right here into our nice dark mixture. Cut off a little roll of paint. And I want it to be straight. All right, now we'll fill those in. these big ones. Big post. We can just wrap some cords around it. Little highlights to the rope, script liner, and our light gray mixture here, and maybe right over here. Cool. Now, let's do some more grasses right up here in front. I think I will do a tiny bit of sand. I'm going to grab some of this titanium white, some bright red. It's kind of dirty with our phthalo green. Now a little bit more. All right, let's do some grasses. We need some thin, dark. These are going to be nice and big. These will be some of those really fun grasses that you'll see at the beach. Maybe they're cattails. I don't know what actually these big ones are called, but someone will know. Let me know in the comments. Let's bring them up. Now let's do on these, there's going to be some other little grasses kind of coming off like this. Just a few. Maybe there's 100 grasses total. Somebody should count them. Somebody that's not me. Someone go back to the beginning of those grasses and start counting how many we've total done. No, there might be more than 100 at this point, so maybe that's not a good one. Now a few of the grasses kind of coming out of those. Now, more. Nice and thick, really thick, or really dark, not thick. Really thin, but very dark. There we go. Struggles. Oop, it's getting away. Bring that back up here. Twirl it into a nice fine point so you'll have lots of paint loaded up in there. Lots of paint. I'm going to get as much paint loaded into the bristles as possible. Now, let's see about making some of these cool little things that are hanging on the grasses. Wish I knew the technical term for them, but I do not. They'll be shorter at the end. And longer back here. Put a little bit more crimson in there. Yeah, a touch more dark. Just mix that up. Thin it out just a touch here. Maybe just a few. Now, come back with some of our light gray mixture, liquid white, and our grays that we already had. We want it to be thin, so we use a liquid white. Mix it until it is that color that you want, and we're not mixing any more dark into it. Just a touch, maybe here and there. More thin. Right in front. Yeah, I'm going to take my big blending brush. Just kind of pull some of that down into the dark. And we'll just fix this right here. Now, fan brush, titanium white, some of our gray. Let's do some red into that. And with the sable brush, we'll just work in a few more shadows. Right into our light areas. Just as if the wind is blowing the dunes too, and giving them these nice ridges. Nice and soft. Now we can just build on a couple spots. I think I'm going to put a little bird right on that post there. Make sure, see if I can do it. I'm going to wipe off my script liner and go into some of our dark gray, whatever we got left here. Now let's start with some legs. And a little head. And it's a little bit beak. Now let's do a highlight on liquid white, and let's go into some of our gold and back into some bright red. And I'm just going to wipe out that brush. And soften this back a little onto the wing. And the head. Soften this edge. We don't want any hard edges. All right, let's pop some sunshine on. Bright red, liquid white. Just on a couple of these little grassy things up here. Now I'm going to use a fan brush and just soften them back. Maybe just a couple tiny little grasses. I like it. Now I think I'm gonna use a towel here and just tap a little bit on our sun right here and just brighten it up a tiny bit. Yeah, one last little few kind of contrasting grasses maybe down here. But we're looking pretty good down there. Sometimes I like to just bring some down in front. You just kind of flatten them out. I think I'm going to sign it. Episode 100 of Tutorial Tuesday. That's just 100 episodes of oil painting, wet on wet tutorials that you can go watch and learn from. So you should go back and tell me which one is your favorite one of all time out of all 100. I would love to know in the comments below. Comment what number you think is your favorite out of 100 episodes. I would love to hear that. Now we'll just do a little signature with some bright red. This was a really fun scene to paint. I love painting calm beach scenes, and I could definitely just see myself enjoying this little sunset on a little chair, just listening to the waves crash and the birds getting their last bites before the sun sets. Maybe there's some seals barking far away. Having a good time. All right. Ta-da! Episode number 100 of Tutorial Tuesday. My name is Kaylee. I paint wet on wet landscape oil paintings, and you were just here for episode 100. I cannot believe it. I would love to hear down below which one is your favorite painting that we've ever painted in this series of Tutorial Tuesday. I look forward to painting these every single week for you, and I will see you next week for episode number 101 of Tutorial Tuesday. Smile and be happy, friends!